opportunity to say hello. If you have any questions, we can certainly answer those. Or maybe we can answer them. I'll try to answer them. But also, Karen will be looking at the chat box to see if there are any questions. So maybe that we can answer anything that might come in. And I hope you all have had a good summer now that we're in the middle of fall. I cannot believe it is already the middle of September. It's amazing how time fast. And I think as we get older, watch out because it speeds up rather quickly. So first things first. So I just returned from the budget meeting in Rancho Cucamonga. I have to think about that before I say it. But your budget committee did an excellent job in discussion and asking questions, and just totally surprised me. And I was so very much surprised. You know, sometimes we have a tendency just to listen and maybe not ask our questions. So they were very involved, and Brenda K. Young, who is the budget chair this year, along with Terry Colwell, who is retired Michigan, is the vice chair. So we also have Barbara Blackard, who is a member this year, along with your executive committee, and myself with Mary Ann Hess as your president-elect, and Lisa Garcia, I apologize, as your vice chair. So Connie, our financial advisor, was there, and Chris was there, and Janet Pantaleon was also there as our in-office. So we had a great two-day meeting. Believe it or not, it was 2 full days. We did not get done until about 3:30 on Saturday, which is a little unusual. Usually it lasts about lunch or so. So just to let you know that your budget committee is working hard to make sure that we stay on track and that the budget comes out like it should with no surprises. So therefore, we're really good over that. I got a Zoom confirmation. Hey, Karen, it just came. That was really nice. A little couple things that happened. You may not know that in 2005, whenever we began our Athenian Fellowship Program, a gentleman by the name of Paul Craig from Illinois started the program in Illinois for the Illinois clerks. Hi, Lana, glad to have you. And he recently passed away. So we talked about honoring him by renaming the fellowship as the Paul Craig Athenian Fellowship, because without his initiative and ingenuity, we would not have what we have today. You know, an IMC, of course, has picked that up and run with it, but that will come before the board at our mid-year, which we will be in Orlando, woohoo, for those who are coming from cold weather. And hopefully they will not have a problem with renaming that. So in his honor, which is a great honor, hopefully that will be renamed. So if you see it coming across after November, that it will be the Paul Craig, you know what you're looking at and why this happened. All the reports from the membership committee were great. We will be also discussing at the mid-year what we used to call the Beyond MMC program. Dr. Rodriguez and staff has finally put their finishing touches on it, and it will be presented to the board. It looks like it's going to be a great program, minimal cost, that you as an MMC will have an opportunity to continue with your lifelong learning. There won't be any, certification process for this like we do have with MMC and CMC, but that doesn't mean it's not as important as those two. This is just a program that hopefully will give you additional opportunities for taking classes from leadership or whatever the program happens to be when Dr. Rodriguez puts the classes together, which I know that they're working on. And it will be structured in such a way that it'll take 3 years or more to get through, and there will be different levels. The acronym for it is called PLUS, P-L-U-S, and that means Professional Leadership United in Service. So as we start looking at this and you're interested, we will be also marketing this to your city managers or mayors, whoever is above you, that you have to request the opportunity to take classes or travel. That way they know that IMC is offering more and better education, because as you know right now, MMC is all that we have. And sometimes our governmental officials think we don't need to do any further once we get our certification. We know that's different. So hopefully this will be announcing to them your opportunity for additional and higher education. And that's what we're looking for, the opportunity to go forward. We're also continuing our work with Region 11 to try to get some approved educational courses and begin into the Athenian dialogue, as I talked about during the summer. My next trip is to Oregon, and I'll be leaving the 26th of this month. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I don't care how cold it is. I am putting my feet in the Pacific. So I understand I may come back with frostbite, but that's okay. I can stand it. So we expecting a great program there. It's a place I've never been except for Portland, and I'm looking forward to exploring and seeing the greenery and education or whatever's offered. So I will be there until that Friday and then spending the night. And on October 1st, on Saturday, I'll be going to Amsterdam. And this is another awesome trip. So to begin with, when I get there, Hans is sweet enough, along with Renee Wigger, is going to make sure that I get from the airport to the hotel. And he was so sweet. He said, if you need to lay down and take a nap, then we'll wait for you. And I'm going, lay down, man. I'm going to be really charged for this. So there's no laying down here, but I might need a shower. So I'll take time to get ready for that. And in the beginning, we are going to be touring with a group of English students for education. And I'll have an opportunity to, sit down with them, do their education, choose what classes I want to go to, which I'm looking forward to. Then on Monday, as most of you know, years ago, I had an opportunity to go to the Netherlands with an exchange program, which is no longer ongoing, but I was the first clerk that had the opportunity. And I was with a gentleman by the name of Andres Knevel, and Ronnie knows Andres from working with him in years past, and we just clicked. It was like a brother-sister type thing. He went here, Florida, and I went there. And Monday, Hans has something to do. And the great thing about that is Andres is coming to The Hague, and we're going to have an afternoon, he and his wife and myself. And then when Hans is done, we're going to have dinner. So I'm going to have a party. I am really excited over that, and then meeting the VVG on Thursday and Friday, attending their conference and, sitting down and talking further about education, because that's what everything is all about. And then I return on October the 8th. So I think I'm going to be pretty tired, but, I found the older you get, the more you travel, the tireder you are, but it all comes out. So I am definitely looking forward to the increase in travel that we'll be doing this fall, which is quite a bit, but it's an opportunity, right? So I would suggest that as you go through in your career and you attend conferences and you meet people, those are the things that enrich our life, but it also gives us an opportunity to make the type of friends to be able to see a different part of the world. And I would also encourage that if there's any director or past director that is interested in running for vice president and representing IIMC and giving back, because by traveling, that's exactly what we do. We give back to our members and to those associations that have helped us to grow as we go forward. So I was trying to make some notes, so I apologize for looking down and trying to be really smart about my talking this morning. I wondered if anybody has any questions or comments or whatever. Oh, come on, guys. No? Okay, then I guess go ahead, Ronnie. Thank you for talking.
Yeah, hello everybody. Yes, I'm Ronnie Fredericks I am a past Region 11 director, as Pamela knows, Madam President. At the moment, I'm still involved in the international business because I am the executive director of UDIT, and UDIT is the European Association of Local Chief Executives. It's an umbrella organization of 10 national associations going from Malta over Italy to Ireland. And we have a long-term affiliation with the IIMC. And sometimes we organized some common things like the study abroad tour or program in 2016, I believe, or 17 in Brussels. And I already talked with Tom van der Hoven to see how we can reinforce that link between IIMC and UDIT in that global world. We know these were difficult times with the pandemic, and now with the war in Europe and the economic crisis, but still there is the will of our UDIT president, which is now a man from France, who want to reinforce international relations. So I just want to mention that to you, Pamela, and maybe to the members of the International Relations Committee, to see what can be done in the future. So because we believe, and you also do, Pamela, I know that we are living in a global world, and that exchange experiences and knowledge is quite important, even for each clerk in the world, to broaden that horizon that we embrace. So yeah, just my little note for you all.
Thank you, Ronnie. You know, it's hard to think on the state side that we truly are an international organization, and that's why we are working diligently with the VVG, which is the Netherlands Association, to try to go forward and look at what they need to be approved to start an academy, to start Athenian, so that their members understand how much we need them and how much we treasure them, because by this type of contact, our organization cannot go forward. And I would love to see additional affiliate agreements, you know, Ronnie, with your president who is from France. How can we work with this connection to get France on board, or some of our people there that might be able to enhance the things that we do here in the States. Because, one thing that I learned when I was with Andres, and, it seems like 100 years, but it was only in 2010, is that the variety of tasks that we do, not only across the states, but internationally, is the same. They may do it a different way, they may have different requirements, but it basically is so close to what we do that we need to learn more and be able to offer through IMC education to help them go forward. And I know that Lana is working with Janice Dow, and we're going to begin a Canadian membership drive to see if we can't enhance and encourage those members. And through Lana is our Region 10, one of two Region 10 directors. So IMC staff, I should say, I was going to say us, but staff works really hard to try to develop these type of programs or membership drive to let Region 10, and Lana is pushing this forward. I'm stumbling. So Lana, do you want to speak to this?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I echo Ronnie's comments about, trying to increase membership and create international relations. I'm also on that committee too, so nice to see you, Ronnie. But yes, at our mid-year meeting, I did ask Janice if we could have some time to sit down and talk about what a membership drive might look like and how I can promote up here in Canada. I am also a director on my provincial organization, Alberta Municipal Clerks Association. So I'm hoping that I can also increase IIMC membership and promote through that as well. But we also have other organizations, not only in my province, but across Canada, clerk affiliated, that I want to talk to Janice about of how we can promote even within those. I think that IIMC has a great educational program and component to it. So I think it has a lot of value also with the mentorship program. So I'm excited to promote that in my region and increase our members. We are very low in members for IIMC, I'm going to say less than 250. So I am in awe when I look at Region 11. So we would love to be like that. So I just think it has a lot of value, and I'm excited to kind of get that going. We also have the conference 2024 in Calgary. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to increase that membership, to increase our numbers for that conference and really promote that as well at the same time. So I just think it's a really exciting time and maybe the perfect time for us to go forward. So with our membership. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to add.
Awesome. That's what we're working for, is to try to grow IMC, but also by growing IMC, we have to pay attention to education and the connections and relationships. And that's exactly what we're good at, that we need to increase that opportunity. And earlier in, I would say, summertime, we had a Zoom meeting with our Region 11 directors because we're interested in having the first Athenian for them. And we do have a Canadian member that is a facilitator. So we hope to be able to offer that in 2023. Don't know exactly the date, but it will show them what we can offer. Athenians are really a good way to get education started, even in your own state, if you do not have that right now, because you can get your fellowship and have all 10 Athenians virtually, if that's what you're interested in. And if you go online to the IMC website, you'll see the plethora of Athenians, not only virtually, but also in person. But when COVID hit, we had to find a way to reach our members and provide them with education. And thankfully to the board and staff, we were able to go virtual with all of this. And I don't believe we ever thought we would have a virtual Athenian. And when we talked about it, it was kind of scary because how's this going to work, but staff worked with us, and Karen B, the communications director, helped with the Zoom so that we could do these type of things. So I would encourage you to take that opportunity, even if you do not have the ability to go to an IMC conference to be recognized on stage. You still can be recognized and receive your Athenian pin, which is a really cool thing. I never thought in the beginning that I was interested in Athenians, and for some reason, I didn't do anything about it. And all of a sudden, I woke up and went, golly, Pete, why am I not doing this? It is such an easy thing, and I love to read. But it always seems when there's a book I must read, I can't read it. So I always listen to it on Audible. And so far, only one has not been in Audible. And I had to read that whole doggone book. But most of them, I buy the book anyway. You can scan it as you're going through and make your notes. But I normally end up giving my books to the library because most of them don't have what we're doing. So I have 3 or 4 between now and the end of the year. And, a couple books I'm not really interested in, but I've never read a book I didn't like that the Athenian dialogue did not come together and bring it out. So the best part of the Athenian fellowship and this particular opportunity, it's not necessarily reading the book, but it's the conversation and discussion that you have with people you've never met before, if you can do it virtually. And then if you happen to have the opportunity to go to an Athenian, then you see these people there because or 2 or 3 virtually, you begin to recognize those that are, wanting to get their Athenian fellowship. So I would encourage you and just go for it. It doesn't take but a minute. It looks like Camilla has her hand up, Karen. Camilla, you want to unmute?
Yes, I am pulling into my parking spot right now. Thus the reason I'm not on the video from another meeting. But to add to that story, what you're sharing, Pamela, is don't forget about anyone who might be interested in being a facilitator, because my state did not have anyone and our region didn't have a lot of people in it. That is what drew me to the interest of serving as a facilitator. And so we do have the program where if you're interested in becoming a facilitator and you meet certain qualifications, you complete 6 hours of mentoring with a current facilitator, then you too can join the ranks and help to build your state or the area that you're from. So there's a passion and a desire there for a lot of people to want to do that. Is just taking that next step.
Absolutely. And she makes a good point because somebody said to me, well, when you get ready to retire, you might want to be a facilitator, and that way you get to stay involved. That is another way, but we do need facilitators if you don't have anybody in your state. I'm sure that Camilla would be more than willing, or Dawn from Maine. We've got so many that could help you with that and mentor you if that's what you have in mind. And it's also a good way to get to know the members of IMC. And because there comes more with just being a facilitator, because you're a leader and you have the opportunity to show through the leadership. I would just say the tenets of leadership through all these books that we are doing. There's been a couple I've questioned it, but I do have to say it's all about the discussion, because what I have in mind or what I think it's about is totally different than what somebody does think about, because the opinions that we each have, we bring something to that discussion. And there's never been one Athenian dialogue that I have not learned something and even changed my opinion on things, because the discussion was just that good. So I definitely would encourage you, even if you're in Canada or Belgium or wherever you may be. Look at there, the Clint Pulver book. I'm doing that as well. So that's coming up very shortly. So Lana's right. Buy the book, go online, see what you need, what book you want to do, and download it from Audible, for heaven's sakes, and then read the book, because that also enforces what you heard and what you read. I did want to touch on, we were very saddened in the United States to hear about the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. And, she may not be our queen, but during her lifetime, she made so many important decisions along with our president and across the world that made a difference in the way we live our life. So what I did while I was in California, the beginning of the Friday budget meeting, is I put a letter together, and the EC looked at it, and we sent it out to each president of each entity that the Queen and the royal family, whatever territories that they have, to let them know how sad we were about her passing, because in most of our lives, she's been the queen. So it's very strange. And when I was reading about some things that she was involved in, I didn't realize she'd been queen for almost 71 years. That is amazing. Just amazing. I just can't believe in how you begin at the age of 21 and the commitment that you must have in order to be in that type of position for almost 71 years. So, she was really big on, I'm not going to say volunteerism, because it's more than that, but she actually dedicated her life to her people and to the territories. And I think that's something we can all learn. Once we think about our clerking job, oh my goodness, if we're there 30 years, we're really lucky. But I think it's all about dedication. And in our jobs, I think we can learn from her because of what she gave to the world. So her family and her people should be very proud of the things that she accomplished. Now we're getting ready to be in the years going forward with, King Charles III, I believe. Third, yeah. So Lana confirmed that. Sometimes when you read that, you really don't take it in, but I like history, so it was worth going backwards to see things that she had been involved in, and learning about how things work. I was going to say, when I go to the Netherlands at the end of this month, I will get the opportunity to visit both houses of Parliament. Is that not cool or what? Because they do things so differently here, but why should we not learn? That enhances our ability, to understand why we do things and why they do things. So I think that's really neat. We have 30 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and mention, I usually do this at the end. I am doing my best this year to promote the IIMC Foundation. You probably throughout the next, till May, however many months that is, going to get tired of hearing that. But we need to remember what the IIMC Foundation does for us, and it is able to provide scholarships and grants and even region grants so that we can have education in the amount of $1,000 per region in order to enhance what we do, to give you the ability to attend an academy, to take an online course, come to the IMC May conference, because of the money that members donate. And during COVID, of course, that's one of the least things we probably were thinking about, is our little $25 that we may have donated on an annual basis through our membership dues. But I found out that a cup of, and I'm going to say it again, you're going to hear it again and again and again, a cup of Starbucks medium coffee is about $6. And I'm sure we've all had at least one medium cup of Starbucks coffee. And if you have, I would encourage you to make a donation, even if it's $6. It doesn't matter how minimal it is or how much it is, because through that is the way that the foundation grows what they have, and we are able to fund through that interest the opportunities to attend the conference, get a grant, get a scholarship, have a region stipend, all of those things. And it enhances what we do. So I would encourage you, if you've never provided a donation, think about it, because it works for you. Us, the members, get the opportunity, and we have the ability to do things because of the work that the IMC Foundation Board does. And if you don't know, there are 26 volunteers. And when I mean volunteers, I mean volunteers. They pay for their own way to every meeting. So their dedication is small in the point of what Queen Elizabeth gave, but it is in a big thing for us, because if you're so dedicated, you're willing to travel to meet your board meetings, you still have fun. Don't misunderstand. We do have a lot of fun. But if those board members are willing to pay their own way to come to their board, they will be with us in Orlando in November, because that's when one of their 2 in-person board meetings a year. Just think about what they provide in traveling. And airfare is not lowered or have decreased so far. My Lord, it's so high. But they've still taken that increase, and they're still coming to be with us at the mid-year, have their own meeting, but also give a report for the board so they know what they've been doing. So it's very important that we support them. So if you're on this Zoom meeting and you come to the next one, you're going to hear that again. So I hope it doesn't get too old, because I think we have a responsibility to support them so that they can support us in turn. Now that I'll get over my mission of the IMC Foundation, anybody have any questions or any comments right now thus far? Okay, Kathy.
Thanks, Pamela. And just to follow up on that, because I'm guilty of forgetting or failing to remember that they have the great Amazon Smile program to benefit the foundation. And I think a lot of us do a lot of shopping on Amazon. Certainly, we don't want to, endorse a particular private commercial vendor, but a lot of us tend to do shopping on Amazon. And I forget to switch mine over to have it be the Amazon Smile program to benefit the foundation. So I think that's a real easy way that we can do it. So I know in Region 1, we're going to be reminding folks of that and promoting that in our newsletter and our future communication. So I just wanted to remind folks of that opportunity as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I've done the same thing. I probably get an Amazon package at least twice a week. I hate to admit that, it could even be more. I just ordered for my son's grandson. Don't say anything. Okay, I know I'm a great grandmother, but we just ordered him a new Halloween costume, and it was a T-Rex. And so last night we had a video chat, and we got to see him walk around in it, and it's too big, but he was still doing the rawr, type thing. So Amazon Smile does make a difference for the foundation. And at the end of the year, you don't have to wait for somebody to tell you how much we gave as members of IMC to the Smile Foundation, because when you choose IMC at the end of the year, you can go and look how much money we generated. So thank you, Kathy, for that. I really appreciate it. That's as important, and one other way that we can provide additional money to the foundation. Anybody else have anything to say? Please say something. Ruth? Go ahead.
I just want to say that we are so excited to have you come to Oregon in 2 weeks. and you'll have a view of the Pacific Ocean from your hotel room.
Awesome.
So it's a short walk for you to go freeze those feet off, and you will freeze your feet off. It is not the same ocean that laps the shores of Hawaii at all,
Oh,
but it's still beautiful. And you're going to get a great tour of Oregon just flying into Portland and the 3-hour drive down to Newport. You're going to go through Oregon's wine country and the coastal range. And so we are excited to have you come. Thank you very much.
thank you, Ruth. I appreciate that. You know, I think growing as a young clerk to an older senior clerk, growing with IMC and watching past presidents and them sharing with whomever the travels and the opportunities. And I was with Brenda Kay Young, who's past president. She's my budget chair, but we were talking about, you know, the benefit of growing in IMC and traveling forward once you're off the board of directors and running for vice president and the opportunities that that provides you. And this is just that opportunity to be able to see more and share more and meet more members and let them know how important IMC is, because sometimes we think of it, oh, it's just an organization, just what I belong to because I'm a clerk. And we never really take the opportunity that are in front of us to meet more members and to get to know more members. We go to an IMC conference, and what do we do normally? We stay within our own group. And for me, it's really hard to step out of that group, but I found, you know, people really appreciate if you sit down with them and go, I don't really know you, tell me who you are. You know, and that's the way that we are able to help IMC grow. So I hope that as you go to your state conferences or the IMC conference, if you see somebody by themselves that you've not seen before, that may be a brand new member and are sitting in the hallway or looking at the program, kind of stumbling around, we all know who looks newer than we ourselves. Stop and talk to them or invite them to sit with you, get to know them, because usually it's a member who's never been before and they're scared to death. What am I going to do? I don't know anybody. I'm going to be left alone by myself. And I think we all know how that feels. So I would just encourage you at either or, wherever you go, whatever association that you are involved in, that you don't leave anybody behind, because it's very important that we are inclusive. And inclusivity and diversity is about a whole bunch of things. And one of those things is not leaving anybody behind and recognizing when somebody's uncomfortable and inviting them into your circle. And by doing that, you don't know how much you might have touched their lives or enhanced their conference or given them the ability to even step forward and introduce themselves to people that they've never met before. And that's what we should be doing as we go forward in our clerking career. You know, it's uncomfortable sometimes. So I would just encourage you to do that. Anybody else want to say anything? Any questions?
Pamela, this is Karen. I got a question that I think would work really well with what you're speaking about right now. That question is, when should new clerks begin participating in IIMC events and conferences? When should they start?
I would say the minute you walk in the door, the first day of your new job, is that you take the opportunity to fill out that membership application. Remember that you need to be a member of IMC 2 years as you go through your academies to become a certified municipal clerk before you can achieve that designation. So I would encourage you, if you are a clerk that you're talking to another clerk, they're looking for a job, they go to another job, one thing you can remind them to do is to always talk about what education opportunities the council, the mayor, the city manager is going to allow them. And if you do not bring this up, there are a lot of misunderstandings. Oh, I'm just going to have that in my budget. A lot of times that's not true. you have to speak up for yourself. And you have to tell them how important it is that you go for these education, not only at the IMC, but of course at your regional and your district, your state level. Those are important as well, because everything you go to, and if you fill out the ideas to action, whatever you need to fill out to get back to your state organization as well as IMC, that will help you to get points in order to meet the certification status. But on the opposite side of that application is 60 for certification, 60 points for experience. So everything that you can do, every class that you can take, as long as it's authorized by IMC, that's what you need to do. And that just segues, Karen, into another thing. We found out at in California at the budget meeting that the May conference is going to allow 10 points. And we have never had 10 points before. But it is also going to allow a little bit more time for us to network and not have to rush from class to class. You know, usually you're running from one class to another to get your seat or be there on time. So we're going to allow a little bit more time, because when we sent out our survey for those that answered, we had quite a few people did come through, let us know, what did you think? What did you not like? You know, those type of things. One of the things is that we're hurrying so much to each class. We don't have enough time to talk to one another on the way or answer questions. So you'll have that little bit of leeway, but you also will get 10 points if you go to the classes, fill out the idea to action, take the test, because everything's automated now. So you will just go into the app on your phone after the class, complete the ideas to action, and then there's always a little test with maybe 10 questions. You answer that, and once you do that, when you get back home, your certificate for that class will be in your email box. So you print out all of them, you put them in your folder, or you send them to IMC, and I always keep a copy of everything that I've gone to. So then you have all those certificates when you walk in the door. You don't have to do anything else. And think about this. So, you know, Saturday, Sunday, we always offer additional courses, and we always offer 2 Athenians on Saturday and on Sunday. Those Athenians are for 3 points as well. So you could get 13 or 16 points if you decide 2 Athenians and you attend the whole conference. So I don't know anybody who couldn't use the 16 or 13 points or the 10 points if you so desire, or you can't come early to do, you know, what I just mentioned. But it gives you an opportunity to garner those points. But again, before you come, if you're a new clerk or you know of a new clerk, let them know to enter, you know, an application to join IMC and to enter another application to enter the CMC Academy. And these will count toward those points, because you definitely don't want to go to a class that you're not going to get the points for. Well, we need to help our members know that by going to these classes and filling out the proper paperwork, that we can garner the points we need to get certified. Then after that, you join the IIMC and you get certified for your Master Municipal Clerk. So that's your next step. I hope it doesn't take you as long as it took me, because it only took me 10 years to get my MMC. And I do say only because I thought I would die before I got my MMC, but I didn't. I got it. And even though it was a long journey, it was well worth that journey. Because I remember when I had CMC behind my name 100 years ago, and I thought, wow, man, I could put CMC behind my name, you know, and people will ask, what's that for? And then when accomplishing the MMC, that's another opportunity. It just makes you feel really good. And that's why I'm saying we're working with our international members so that they too can have CMC and MMC behind their name. Oh, and by the way, Stephen Hike, I hope I pronounced his name don't tell him I butchered Atlanta, okay? But he just got his CMC in the last membership that, you know, we get something every month that tells us of the new CMCs and MMCs, and Stephen just got his CMC. So I know he worked hard for it, and, you know, it's well deserving, but it's always good to see an international member come up on that roster to get their, because they, you know, sometimes it's a little harder with approved classes and things like that for us. Ours is in our institute, we really take it for granted, and we don't realize that it may be more difficult for our international members to achieve that. So, you know, I just think that's an awesome opportunity. So what else do we need to talk about? Anything you want to hear? Don't ask me a question I don't know. And Camilla raised her hand, so she's going to help me out.
Well, I was going to add to your comments as well, Pamela. Once the individual becomes, they join IIMC, it's important that they get engaged and involved and serve on their district or their state level. There's committees and board, there's committees there, but there's also committees on the IMC level as well. And so by being a member and working towards your certification, if you're serving on a committee on your state level or on the international level, then you get a point per year for that as well. But most importantly, it's the networking that you get to meet so many different people, and you're growing and enlarging your network of opportunity to call upon people, ask questions, get assistance when you need it, a mentoring mentee situation there as well.
Absolutely. You know, plus that, if you are interested in growing your state by learning about it, if you're a new clerk, to get on those committees, that's how you get the inside information on the workings of your state associations. The same way with IMC. The only way to learn how your committees work and the amount of work that they do is by joining, and you get a point every year for the committee that you're on. So you could receive 2 points each year if you're interested in going forward. And most of all the IMC committees are done via Zoom. So you get to meet people you probably would never see by joining a committee. And I would imagine it may be on your state level. As much as we think we know everybody, there's always somebody who joins and we don't know. But encouraging them to get interested in what's going on in your committees is important. And that segues into letting you know that this year, if you don't know, we have a constitutional task force, and there are 7 members. They are looking at our Constitution. It's been quite a while since that has been done, trying to see what we need to do or change, go forward, you know, because it is 2022. So as you go forward in whatever policies and your Constitution, we may need to update some things. So we do have a task force that's doing that. And I have been involved with your committees, so I know that they're working. As you know, the board decided to give them quite a bit of work to do this year. So we will get their first report at the mid-year meeting. I can assure you that they are working hard to make IMC better, look at policies that we think might need to be changed, or just insight in whatever that IMC is doing. Also, you know, we have a vice presidential election going on. We have 3 candidates. I would encourage you to read everything that you can once you're sent something by them, to know what they're about, what they're looking for, why they're running, and choose the best candidate for our next vice president. So the 3 that we have are Janice Bates from Ohio. I apologize for butchering that. Stephen Hake, Lana, is also running from Canada. Our 3rd one is Dawn Abramson Ham. Wow, I said that right. I am so impressed. From California. And each of these individuals have a lot to offer. and of course, different ideas. And they wouldn't be running if they weren't interested in what IMC has to offer. You know, so I'd encourage you to read what you can, and please vote. We might read, but most of the time we do not vote. You make the difference in IMC by voting for your next vice president, because if you don't, you have no say in either being happy or being sad, because by voting, this person ascends to the presidency 3 years from the date that they were sworn in, so, or chosen as the vice president. So I'd encourage you to make a statement and vote for whomever you think is the best choice, because you make a difference. You choose who your next leader is. And I think that's something we forget in the vice president race, is that you're choosing your next president in 3 years since we ascend, to the presidency. So I just think it's important that you pay attention. Camilla, do you still have your hand raised, or do you want to say something else? I think she just still has her hand raised, evidently. So we have 8 minutes. Is there anything that anybody is just busting out the seam to say to the group that is on? And remember that somebody will be able to go back and listen to this conversation on the YouTube later. So I'd encourage you to let your, I hear an echo. Do you hear an echo? It drives me crazy. But to let your members know to go to the YouTube channel so that they can listen to this, because I definitely won't be able to remember what I said at 10 o'clock, because the next one's at 3 o'clock. So maybe I'll say something more interesting at 3 o'clock. So have them listen to both. You never know. I might come up with some genius idea that I haven't shared this morning that I'm going to share at 3 o'clock. I don't know about it yet, but you never can tell. So I really appreciate you joining me this morning. I really do. I think that this is a way that Karen helped us begin during COVID, when the president couldn't travel. And I think it's a good way to meet members that you won't ever meet before, or don't have anything or the opportunity to say something. And this is your opportunity, to ask questions or help explain. If I'm fumbling around, help me out. Please say whatever. I think it's an opportunity to get to know one another better, and to just generally have a conversation that we otherwise would not have. I would encourage our region directors who are on. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 current, 1 pass, 2 pass with Camilla, to let your members know. If you could send something out, we need more people to join us on these little chats. Oh, and I might say that Dawn Wright from Florida is with us, and believe it or not, she is the current winner of the Hawaii raffle. So she's already set her dates, and she's going to write an article once she comes back, so that we know, what this trip meant to her. And I don't know if you were at the conference. If you were, you saw her jumping up and down and running to the stage. And I dare say I'd be jumping up and down too. So the Hawaii raffle is another way that the foundation is supported to support you in scholarships. So, we can purchase them online when the time comes. They do allow that. I'm looking forward to Dawn's report, and I'm sure she'll come back with a great tan. Whatever she finds to do while she's there. And I think it's a great opportunity. And had she not bought a ticket, and that $5 or however much went to the foundation, she wouldn't have won the trip. So that's another reason to support IMC, because you never know if you might get to go to Hawaii. So I just want to encourage you to do that as well. I said a lot this morning, I guess, because when you're talking, your train of thought's trying to catch up to your mouth, sometimes that doesn't happen. So Thank you again for joining us. We have 4 minutes. Is there anything that you want to add or any comment that you want to make?
Pamela, this is Karen again. You've spoken both in writing, in articles and announcements, and in your speeches and updates that you provided our membership about your commitment to make IIMC more international or more actively international. Would you share some of the response that you've received and perhaps some of your hopes for this initiative?
Well, I believe that the response has been very well. We have been talking to VVG, which is the Netherlands Association, and there have been a lot of back and forth, even since my time when I was the exchange clerk, on how can we help the VVG become more involved? How can we help to provide education so that they can get their certification? And through the conversations that we just began again, I think we have a lot of hopes that we can move forward. Now, it's give and take on each part. IMC can only do so much, as well as VVG can only do so much. But by having the conversation and opening up that connection, I think that we can come together and understand what it takes to approve the classes they need, or hopefully get an institute started. And I see so much potential, particularly with them, and having the conversation with Region 10 and opening up an Athenian, and with the membership drive that Atlanta is beginning to approach with staff, because unless we reach out and find a way to connect, that membership is not going to grow. And so having those conversations, sometimes by disagreements, by understanding of what it takes, by how do we go about encouraging those members in these regions to step up, to grow that membership, then we're never going to grow as an association. But I think we stunt our growth by not being open to what it's going to take. It's not a conversation that you have and you get it settled in 1 year. It's a conversation that will be going on in numerous years, and I hope until I'm way gone out of the membership. But I know your president-elect, Mary Ann Hess, she's been joining me in conversation with VVG. We talked about Atlanta's taking the opportunity in California this past weekend and what she'll be doing with membership. So those type of things is up to you as directors, but it's also up to us as the executive committee to recognize the opportunities. And it's all about opportunities. And I am excited. I'm really excited to be able to be the face right now and to go to the Netherlands and have a talk about Athenians with the Canadian group, because it makes a difference. If I don't have the conversation, I don't know what's going to happen. And I know that we're going to move forward with this, and it's going to be an exciting venture. So it's 11 o'clock, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited to see your faces, and we'll end and wait for next time. And I'll see you guys at mid-year. See you later.